pressed. She made a test with one question on it, bro. That's how pressed she got. That's crazy.
Body.
She
Riley had
is
written
petty.
red, and Mrs. Miller had marked it wrong. I requested a meeting with Principal Davis and brought printouts of medical textbooks, the state science standards, and Riley's quiz. The
Oh my
principal
God.
called in Mrs. Miller and asked her directly, "Is blood blue inside the body?" After a long pause, Mrs. Miller said, "It's what the children understand better." I leaned forward in my chair. My daughter is crying every morning before school because she's afraid of getting F's for writing down the truth. The next day, the school replaced their science books. Now whenever Riley learns something new at school,
Dad.
she comes home and asks me, "Dad, is this actually true, or is it just a Mrs. Miller truth?"
This might be niche, but what do I do with all this extra yarn? I bought way too much for a crochet project last year.
Bang!
A Mrs. Miller truth. She's going down in history.
I spent 3 years training my 7-year-old daughter for the day someone came to hurt us. And when the day came, I grabbed her hand, rushed inside.
The librarian tried to rupture my daughter's eardrum. I brought my 5-year-old Chelsea to the library for children's reading hour. But when she sat down, the librarian walked up to her and pointed at Chelsea's hearing aids. She said, "This reading is only for normal kids. You and Daddy will have to go home." Chelsea's lip quivered, and the librarian announced loudly, "Sorry, parents, we're waiting to start until the disruption goes away." She pointed at Chelsea. My daughter teared up, and I was about to storm over. But then one of the other parents stepped in and told the librarian Chelsea had every right to be here, and if she excluded her, they were all going home. The librarian instantly smiled and backed down, saying, "Of course everyone is welcome." But she had this weird grin like she was planning something. Chelsea sat with everyone, and the librarian said every kid would read one by one. They went around, and Chelsea listened intently, happy her hearing aids worked perfectly. But then, it was her turn. She read "Once Upon," and suddenly started shrieking. She dropped the book, covered her ears, and fell sideways on the rug screaming. I looked over and saw the librarian in her reading chair smirking, hiding a small handheld device in her book, and cranking the dial on the device 2/3 up. I instantly realized she was holding a telecoil, the device libraries use to assist hearing aids. She'd paired it to Chelsea's hearing aid and was blasting tone feedback directly into Chelsea's ear. To Chelsea, it sounded like a fire alarm 3 inches from her ear. She screamed, "Please make it stop," and I instantly ran over. The librarian turned the dial down and loudly said, "I tried to warn everybody. Some children just aren't ready for story hour." I carried my crying daughter away and wiped her tears. But as we were about to leave, the librarian fixed her hair, and I noticed she had her own hearing aid. I immediately realized she had only done this to my own daughter because she was ashamed about her own deafness. So I figured, why not fix that? I told Chelsea, and I had an idea, and her eyes lit up. She crept over to the drawer where the telecoils were kept and brought one back. Chelsea smiled and connected it to the librarian's hearing aid, and we waited for her to speak. She stood up and said, "I hope you all had a great time," and suddenly she started screaming. She clutched her ear and fell to the floor shrieking. Chelsea had the dial cranked all the way up. It was like listening to a jet engine pressed against her ear. The librarian was yanking at her ear. She pulled out her hearing aid and threw it across the floor and just laid there with blood dripping from her ear. Her eardrum was burst, and the other parents just stared at her, realizing she had the same disability she mocked Chelsea for. I'd been hall monitor for 10 minutes, and when I saw Mrs. Voss in the hallway with her coffee, I knew she was caught. For 2 years, she'd been catching me in the hall for stupid stuff like bathroom passes and untucked shirts. She'd put my nose 6 inches from the wall and my hands flat on it while everyone walked by staring. When I got nominated last week, she walked past my desk laughing. "Pretend cops with felt badges. Good luck, kid." She forgot teachers had to follow the rules too. I stepped in front of her with my pad. "Ma'am, put it down. No drinks in the hall during class. Your rule." "Are you kidding me? Move." "I can't do that, ma'am. I'm just doing my job." 3 6th graders behind her stopped to watch. She set her coffee on the floor and walked to the office empty-handed. Wednesday, she tried to slip to the lounge during class without a pass, but I stepped in front of her. "Ma'am, where's your pass? Anyone in the hallway during class needs one. That's the rule. I'm a teacher. I don't need a pass. Move before I write you up. Then please step over to the wall, 6 inches from it. Hands flat. Your words." Her face froze. The crowd grew behind her. 5 kids, then 10, then half the math class next door spilling out into the hallway. 2 5th graders giggled and whispered, "Oh, she's in trouble," loud enough for her to hear. Voss walked to the wall with her shoulders dropped and pressed her nose against it while the hallway watched. Thursday, she stormed past me into the principal's office to tell on me. He pulled out the rule book she helped write and read the rule out loud. Hallway passes apply to teachers too. He signed her one in blue pen, the color she made every kid use. "You'll need this from now on, Voss, same as the kids." Friday, she didn't come into the hallway at all. I found her in the supply closet at lunch, sitting on a box of paper towels. "Please, I'm begging you. I get it. I was wrong. Just stop." I held up my pad. "But ma'am, you said I was just some pretend cop with a felt badge." She quit before Christmas break, but the badge is still on my shirt. My history teacher pointed at me mid-cough.
Facemoji has tons of awesome themes, fonts, and text art to choose from. Download now.
How dare you interrupt my class? I shook my head. I have an autoimmune disease. I can't help it. The kid behind me spoke up. It's true. His dad came in once and told every teacher to be gentle with him because of his disease. You don't want to mess with his dad. He's built different. The teacher laughed. Every other teacher can believe that lie, but I won't. I reached into my pocket and called my dad. Soon the teacher was going to find out exactly who my dad was. My dad answered, but before I could say a word, my teacher smacked the phone out of my hand with a ruler. Did you convince your daddy to lie and tell teachers you're sick so you can sit on your phone in class? I tried to answer but accidentally coughed straight into his face. He tapped the ruler against his palm. Don't make me swing this at you. The kid behind me shot up. Are you insane? He's actually sick. Look at his wrist. He has a medical bracelet. The teacher coughed straight into his face. He tapped the ruler against his palm. Don't make me swing this at you. The kid behind me shot up. Are you insane? He's actually sick. Look at his wrist. He has a medical bracelet. The teacher grabbed my arm and dragged me to the front. My body was aching so much from my disease, I collapsed on the floor. He lifted the ruler in the air. Let me show you all what happens when a father raises his son to be weak. But before the ruler could come down on me, the kid behind me gasped. Oh my gosh. He pointed at the window. The whole class turned. My dad was crossing the parking lot in full army uniform. Everyone turned their heads and saw 4 military trucks parked outside the school. Soldiers were stepping out and walking into the school. The kid screamed, I told you his dad was built different. The teacher's face went white. 2 soldiers marched in and grabbed him. My dad came in behind them. He saw me on the floor and rushed towards me. The soldiers turned the teacher to face my dad. My dad lifted up his phone, showing that we were still on call because my teacher threw it across the room. My dad said, say it again. Tell me I'm weak to my face. The teacher ran out of the room crying, and through the window we all gave him the finger. An ice cream van pulled up to our neighborhood and gave ice cream to every kid, but when my son walked up, the man laughed and said, no ice cream for black kids.